All right, guys, I'm going to try and hold the phone steady while I'm filming out here. I always love sharing this gorgeous mountainscape with you guys. I'm up at my property. We're at 8,000 feet, which is why you sometimes hear me out of breath. I'm still acclimating, moving back here from Florida. So, we're going to get through a video today that I think is extremely important. My name is Matthew. I've been a financial educator and coach now for almost 2 decades. I've been a real estate investor for over 2 decades. I've been surrounded by the real estate community. I'm a small business builder. I'm sort of a serial entrepreneur. I own a sewer company and I'm a 7-figure earner. And I believe I know a lot of tips and tricks that can help people go further, faster financially. So welcome to the channel. We're going to try and keep you steady while I share this amazing view behind me and talk about financial success, because it is my experience after coaching people for a decade and a half now that financial success is impossible without knowing what we're going to cover. And in a world that is obviously driven by ambitions and aspirations, there's this desire to achieve financial success, and it seems to be a universal goal. But despite this shared dream, it is undeniable that most people will never reach their financial objectives. And there are reasons behind this failure, commonly including a lack of willingness to take risks and also making necessary sacrifices. So in today's video, I'm going to explore the behavioral as well as the psychological barriers that tend to prevent individuals from attaining their financial goals, and also discuss strategies that can help you overcome this. Now, I've realized that there are two primary barriers that stand between you and your financial success. And the first and foremost that I see with most people is this intense fear of taking chances and taking risks. And one of the primary reasons why many people fail to reach their financial goals is because they're so adverse to taking risks. And fear of failure or fear of loss and uncertainty is often going to obstruct people from seizing lucrative opportunities that could potentially bring them closer to the financial prosperity that they desire. And this is known as the comfort zone conundrum. So stepping out of one's comfort zone is crucial for personal growth as well as financial success. And unfortunately, the fear of the unknown and the perceived risks associated with leaving one's safe haven, it can have this huge roadblock in terms of your progress. It will hinder your progress. And individuals who prioritize stability over progress are often going to find themselves trapped within their comfort zone and unable to take the necessary leaps toward financial success. So financial literacy is also a big thing. If you are financially illiterate, it's going to play a huge role in this. And a lack of financial knowledge and understanding is going to, of course, carry through due to our culture. There's this fear that comes with it and being overwhelmed when it comes to making investment decisions or exploring unconventional income streams. And without understanding risk management and then be able to assess allocation, people may choose to avoid these opportunities altogether. And that leads, of course, to huge missed chances for financial growth. Now, the other primary reason that most individuals are never, ever going to achieve financial success in their lifetime is because of their reluctancy to make sacrifices or cut back in their current lifestyles to invest in the future. And most of the time, this boils down to instant gratification versus delayed gratification. In a consumer-driven society, the allure of immediate gratification often takes precedence over long-term financial planning or investing in your future self. And the temptation to spend money on immediate desires rather than making strategic investments for future financial stability, it can lead to detrimental consequences in the long run for you. And people are obsessed with maintaining status quo and keeping up appearances. Many people are accustomed to their current lifestyle, and it makes it even more challenging to detach themselves from it. So adjusting your lifestyle to accommodate your financial goals often is going to require a reconsideration of your spending habits and prioritizing your needs over your wants. And in some cases, making drastic changes is going to end up being necessary for you to get where you want to end up. Sacrifice isn't easy, and it demands a change in mindset from short-term enjoyment to long-term reward. And I remember when I was first building my first business, I was really struggling to make ends meet, very close to things folding up. And at the time, I had a rental property, but I was renting the home I was living in. And it was an incredible house. It was in a very desirable neighborhood in Denver. And I realized at some point that the costs of that home were simply not affordable enough if I wanted to keep building my company. So I broke my lease, I paid the penalty, and I put all my stuff into storage. And I moved into one of the office suites of an office that I was renting for my company. And in a lot of ways, it was a real bruise to my ego. It was pretty embarrassing. But that extra $3,000 a month that I was able to save by making that decision was critical to keep my company safe. And this is just one of many examples that I could share where I've had to take an unconventional approach in order to maximize my cash flow and stay solvent. And what's amazing is only a short time later, my company took off and I ended up making almost $2 million in just 1 year, which looking back probably would have never happened had I not made that temporary sacrifice. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about overcoming barriers and pursuing financial success. First of all, you have to learn how to embrace risk taking. And this is going to start, like I said, by educating yourself. You've got to increase your financial literacy. You've got to read the books. You've got to attend the seminars, and you've got to subscribe to channels like this one. Or you've got to seek guidance from financial advisors, mentors, and coaches. I've had several coaches that I work with for a long time at this point. Some of them cost a lot. Some of them don't cost me anything at all. You've got to understand risks and rewards, and that will undoubtedly boost your confidence in making informed investment choices, which is going to give you the courage to take chances that you wouldn't have taken without educating yourself. And once you know you're willing to do whatever it takes and you're looking into sort of various ways to up-level your circumstances, I have a strict rule, and it's called run to the deal breaker. You've got to run to that deal breaker as fast as you possibly can, because there are more ways of earning money right now than ever before. And let's be honest, it's pretty overwhelming at times, right? And it can cause this sort of paralysis situation because you're overanalyzing absolutely everything and you never really get to a jumping off point. So it's important to waste as little time as possible, and certainly don't spend any money on something that will not eventually lead to the lifestyle that you dream of, that you don't see getting you where you want to end up. Now, the two categories that will usually tell me if there is a deal breaker involved is going to be lifestyle and financial potential. So initially, when I hear about an opportunity, 90% of the time, I can quickly determine if it's not something that I want to do because of the tasks and the responsibilities that are involved with it. It's just not going to be a fit for my lifestyle, which is my number one priority. And this is a very personal category for each person. For instance, I personally refuse to commit to anything that doesn't provide me freedom of mobility. A priority for me is traveling, and I've spent almost every month traveling the country and even the world over the past 2 years straight. So the freedom to be anywhere I want, whenever I want, for as long as I want to be there is a must have when I consider ways to build wealth. And obviously, most income streams available aren't going to allow for this, so I can quickly rule those out. That's a deal breaker for me. My lifestyle also requires freedom and flexibility of my time. So even though I choose to work a lot, that's purely a choice, and I work only when I want to. I have total control over my schedule, and everything I do is something I want to be doing in that moment. But here's the thing. It wasn't always that way. After wearing suits and ties every working day from an office for almost 10 years straight, I know now that if the opportunity I'm considering requires responsibilities that obligate me to wear a suit and tie in an office location during set hours, I'm not interested, regardless of how much money I might be able to make. So that's a deal breaker for me. So understanding your personal lifestyle deal breakers, if you could live your dream life, can help you easily sort and qualify what you should focus your attention on. It helps you sort through the sea of options that are out there for you. And here's the thing, maybe you're listening to this and you're saying, yeah, Matt, that all sounds great, but I have a job that comes with responsibilities and I have obligations and I can't just pick up and quit because I want to be a nomad somewhere. And that's understandable. I understand you have bills to pay and you're earning an income if you are working at a job you don't enjoy. But the thing is, almost everyone I know would live a totally different life if they were handed $10 million right now. You'd quit your job. You'd spend more time with your family. You'd explore the world also. And it took me about 3 years before I could fully transition away from previous obligations that I used to have. So it's not an overnight thing. But the point I'm trying to make is in order to get that eventually, it makes no sense to put any energy at all outside of your primary source of income towards building something else that will only lead you to hating your new life just as much as you may dislike the life you're living today. So the bottom line is, if you want to break that cycle, only focus your energy and efforts on things that will eventually lead to your dream lifestyle. And that's why we bring up so many different options here on this channel. Not everybody wants to or has enough time to build their own businesses. So we discuss passive investing. There are options for actually investing and earning huge amounts of money with little to no time commitment. I'll put some links in the description for you so you can check that out. Other people on this channel love the idea of working for themselves and building something bigger that's their own, like I have. And that's why we share the best short-term rental real estate hack out there as an example. Links will be in the description for that if you care to check it out. And then there are people like me that have the time and desire to do both of those things. There's no right or wrong way, but you can't let fear or an unwillingness to sacrifice when needed to stop you. Now, once you've determined a direction, start small and begin by taking calculated risks with smaller investments. The second prerequisite, aside from lifestyle as my number one priority to find a deal breaker, is going to be earnings potential. The upside earnings potential has to be at least 7 figures, or I'm going to strike that as a possibility. Now, will I in fact earn 7 figures at each venture I move into? No. In fact, in the short-term rental business, I haven't earned 7 figures in a year. And I'm talking 7 figures annually, folks. But the potential of doing so is absolutely there. I could scale that business to that level if I chose to. I have elected not to do that. I've done very well with short-term rentals, but it's not a business I'm going to build to 7 figures. I just have to see that there are examples of people doing that in that industry, people I can look up to, people I can model my business after in order to make sure that that is an eligible business for me to consider moving forward. So those are the two primary prerequisites. And once you've determined that direction of which option you like the best, start small and just start taking calculated risks, do it with smaller investments, and that approach is going to allow you to gain both experience as well as prove the concept so that you can gradually increase your comfort level and your risk taking. Next, it's very important to create a safety net. Okay, so mitigate the fear of failure by setting aside an emergency fund. And that's big for me. Most of the businesses I've gone into, I didn't have an emergency fund to begin with, and then I had to build that up. And knowing that I have a financial cushion truly provides more courage in order to take additional calculated risks. You've got to clearly define your financial goals. And by identifying your financial objectives, both short-term and long-term, you're then able to prioritize your spending, and then you can make necessary sacrifices in order to not only achieve those goals, but set bigger and bigger goals as you go. And of course, I'm saying it again, but creating a budget is crucial. You've got to implement a well-defined budget that aligns with your income, aligns with your expenses, as well as your savings. And you've got to reflect on your spending habits, and you've got to make meaningful adjustments to maximize your cash flow and your savings potential. Just this last month, we actually doubled the production of what we did in our sewer business from last year, and yet we were still short $20,000 in necessary income in order to positively cash flow. If we weren't properly saving and preparing for that type of rainy day, that could have potentially caused us irreparable damage to our business. So you've got to make sure that you're managing that budget as closely as you possibly can. Monitor it so that you can make the necessary adjustments anytime you see missteps or setbacks, because it's going to happen if you're building something. Now, lastly, I want you to make sure you celebrate the milestones. And as you begin to see your progress taking place towards financial goals, make sure you celebrate and reward yourself, albeit moderately, of course. And this is going to allow for balance as well as motivation as you go while you're maintaining the discipline that we're talking about here on the channel. Now, the path to financial success, it is absolutely challenging, but understanding and addressing the barriers that hinder your progress are essential steps towards achieving your goals. And by overcoming the fear of taking risks and making necessary sacrifices, we can actually navigate these roadblocks that are in front of us. And you can see your aspirations become reality. Embracing calculated risks, increasing financial literacy, and adopting the mindset of sacrifice is going to empower individuals to turn your dreams of financial and lifestyle success into reality. So that's it for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the video as well as the view behind me. Absolutely stunning day. Look at all that snow, and it's still beautiful and actually kind of warm out here. Thank you for joining me, guys. Until I see you on the next one, make it a great day and keep on cash flowing. Take care.